Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody else, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Playbook. My name is Paul. I'm your host on this fine Sunday afternoon, but you're probably listening on a different day. Welcome back to the show. Today we have a very special guest for you. He's been on the show before, a fan favorite, if you will. A favorite of mine, certainly. Welcome back, Mr. Geo Rodriguez. How are you, Geo?
Doing good, man. Thank you for the welcoming. Appreciate it. Good to see you. It's been
Absolutely.
a while.
Likewise, it has been a long time.
Yeah.
I think the last episode we did was about a year ago, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
Just about.
So, Gio, what have you been up to since then, my friend?
Busy,
Yeah.
family, work, trying to work deals out, prospecting and just trying to, get the career continue to move forward.
That's right. Pushing along, my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah. Of course, no turning back.
That's right.
No turning back. Too late now.
Gio, I know you pretty well, man. If the audience, didn't see your first episode, how would you kind of describe who you are, how you got your start in the real estate game?
How I am very, I could say I'm pretty chill.
I'd say so.
I'm very, down to earth, always see everything as positive as possible. Still realistic about situations, but always like to see the cup half full. As far as, even with life, like, hey, every day is a new day, new opportunity. That's the way I approach it.
Yeah.
And what happened yesterday that went wrong, you learn from it and keep moving forward. And even what was right, you learn from it and keep moving forward.
That's right, man.
How I got my start in real estate in a nutshell, I started doing, back in 2017, I believe it was, with a friend of ours. I started doing wholesaling, which it was you find a house that in distress, then instead of flipping the house, you flip the contract and you sell it to an investor. So I did a couple of deals with a friend of mine, and I had someone tell me, like, listen, if you're doing this, if you had your license, you have even a bigger avenue in regards to real estate. So I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? That's true. If someone doesn't want to sell the house and to an investor, then maybe we can list it to just a normal traditional way.
Yeah.
So got my license in 2018, and I've been in real estate ever since then.
Right on.
So that's, in a nutshell, that's kind of how I got started.
That's Gio Rodriguez for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's the show. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. No, just joking, everyone. Gio, so you've seen a lot of different, shifts would be the right word over the last 4 years, I would imagine, specifically in the market. As you know, we like to talk about that on here a little bit. So it's been changing a bit in the past few months from what I've gathered, talking to different people on here. What kind of different things are you seeing as opposed to, say, like the beginning or the middle of the pandemic when it was bonkers?
Well, I'm seeing a little bit more inventory. Not as, I don't think we're still where we need to be at, but it's a little bit more inventory, a little bit more options for buyers. You don't see you have more open houses more than anything.
But yeah.
You don't see a lot of bidding wars going on right now. So the clients have options. You get offers, but you don't get as many maybe as you were getting before.
Yeah.
I think, if you list a house right, the house is going to sell, because I noticed more houses staying a little bit longer on the market. Is just shifting. I think we're still in the seller's market, but it's starting to take a little bit of a turn. Buyers, like I said, now can really take a look and as to what they really want. And I remember going to open houses, man, there was like lines outside the door, and you submitted an offer, and there was 50 other offers, and you got beat not by couple of thousand, like 20, 30, 40, $50,000 sometimes, and
It's insane.
with a good client, like strong client. So that has come down a little bit, which is, in a way is good. Things are getting back to normal, but it's still a good market. Even if you're looking to sell, like I said, I don't think we have the inventory necessary to be, where we should be at. So if you're still looking to sell, I think it's still a great opportunity if it's priced
Yeah, nice, man.
correctly.
Are you employing any different strategies? Because you, from what I remember, work both sides pretty frequently, listing and buying. Any things that you're doing differently nowadays?
Differently, I'm having before, obviously you could list a house, put almost any price on it, and people
Don't even
would
have
just
to think
I
about
don't
it.
even have to think about it. But that's what also is going to separate a lot of agents because now you got to actually think outside the box and work. I'm having good conversations with sellers, which I always did. So, but I'm giving them more of the realistic picture as to where we at right now in the market, where we need to be in price. Letting them know also like, hey, listen, if we're listing a little bit too high, you're just gonna sit there for a while.
Yeah.
You just don't want to start bringing that price down, um, as we, as time goes by. So just being again a little bit more painting a more realistic picture as to where the market is at right now with buyers. Same thing is not much different with the buyers. Still got to take them through the process. Hey, we need the pre-approval. We need to, are you selling before you go buy? We got to go through this whole process together. So interest rates obviously are higher, but you have to also now educate buyers a little bit more, like as to, you know, even though the rates are higher, but if this is a house that you really love and want, and this is your dream home, and you're ready for it, let's take a crack at it. And if you get it, then maybe in a year, 2 years from now, if the interest rate get a little bit lower, then refinance at that point.
Yeah.
But I'd rather you not lose the house, if it's your dream home.
Yeah.
So you just gotta have a different conversation and give them a whole different picture than it was, 6 months, a year,
Yeah,
2 years
absolutely.
ago.
Yeah.
So
Bring this a little closer to you. Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, man.
Oh.
What was I going to say? So, we like to talk a little bit to like the newer agents on here, or like agents that are still kind of feeling it out. And I know the market for the past 2.5 years has been extremely intimidating. Would you think right now, or perhaps in the short term, like in the next couple of months, it's going to be easier for new agents to kind of get a foot in the door and get a handle on their business versus where it was a year or so ago?
It's going to be, I don't know if I should say easier. I think it's going to be, because like I said, when the market was going crazy, if you were listing homes and you were a new agent, you pretty much just had to put a price
Plug
on it,
and
slap
play.
a sign, and let the offers come. So if you're a new agent coming in now, yes, the competition is not as crazy, so you can, deal a little bit better with buyers. But I think you really have to have that mental toughness that, hey, this is not what it was a couple of years ago, that I can, again, list the house and sell it right away.
Yeah.
Now you got to really think outside the box, and you got to really be good. You got to be good at what you do now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like it was, last time. But it's easier in the sense that now you can take buyers and look at more homes. You have an option, if you're a newer agent, to also do more open houses as well. Get to meet buyers that way. Get a feel for what it is to do an open house, and get to know about the house. So easier in that sense maybe, but tougher in the sense that you really have to now really put in the work, and that the mindset has to be totally different. You gotta kind of like have a little bit more thick skin.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it could go either way. It's just on the mindset, and the brokers say you would. If you get the support and the help, you just got to plug in, get a system, and just hit the ground running.
You have a little bit more of a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Something that I think, and you kind of touched on this, a lot of people who maybe started when we were at the height of the seller's market maybe didn't have to develop this skill as much as they would have now or prior to COVID, I suppose, is negotiation. And obviously when the general populace thinks about real estate, that's one of the things they think about. Oh, you must be negotiating quite often. In the seller's market, perhaps they weren't doing that as much, whereas now that might be something they have to do even more. How important of a skill do you think that is for this career? How much do you think you have to get negotiation under your belt?
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important in the sense that you're just not negotiating price, right? You're also negotiating terms as well. Like, as a buyer now, you might have a little bit more leverage that you didn't have 6 months ago or a year ago, where you can ask for maybe sellers credit towards closing concessions. So, you got to be able to ask for that. And also, as a listing agent, you got to be able how to negotiate that as well. So back then it was like, well, I really got 50 offers. The negotiators of which one is the highest one. with the best terms. But now, yeah, negotiating is always going to be good because you're not just negotiating, again, the price of the house or the term. You also got to have that good communication with that other agent as well. And you got to be able to negotiate with your buyer
Yeah.
as well, like especially on a inspection, like, hey, we have all this stuff. Let's do this. Let's deal with XYZ, and let the other ones really we may not too worry about it. It's just cosmetic stuff. So you have to negotiation is a very big thing. Again, because you got to know how to communicate with the buyers, that agent as well, and also the numbers and the terms that you're trying to work out, so that way that your deal can go through. You got to make sure that you're not, you can ask for concession, but we're not going to go crazy with it either. Like we got to have a happy medium somewhere. So yeah, definitely negotiation. You gotta have that somehow.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any tips for negotiation in general? I know it's kind of a broad question, but maybe you could speak to, like, when you were first starting in real estate, maybe some of the things that you learned when you were first starting to figure out how to negotiate.
Tips on negotiating, it depends on the situation. If it's price, let's say that you're the listing agent and I'm the buyer's agent, you've been sitting on the market for 30, 40, 50 days, and you're asking $500 for your house. Me as an agent, what I'm going to do, I'm also going to run the numbers, and I'm going to say, well, this sold for this much and that much. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to send you an offer, but I'm also going to send you the comp so that you can see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So that you can see that my asking is not... It's not outrageous. These are the numbers. And so as far as tip is, know your market, know where the neighborhood that your buyer's gonna buy at, and take a look at the comps and take a look at those numbers and have see how long that house has been on the market. It might be, if it's been a while, then you have negotiating room. If it's been a day or two, then you don't have much room. But negotiate, like I said, the terms and know what terms would work best for maybe a shorter inspection period. It could be like I said, asking for a concession from the seller. But one good book that I've heard that agents could look into about negotiating, I haven't gotten to it just yet. That will be my next book. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, I believe is his name. And he talks, everything is about negotiating and the mindset of negotiating. So, but yeah, tip is, again, just look at the market, look at the neighborhood that you're going to be putting an offer in, do the numbers, and that gives you, and back it up with facts. It's not just, here's, out of 500, I'm going to give you 400 just because you've been on the market. Now, just give me facts, give me numbers on that. So
more than anything, just be prepared. Come to the table with information.
Of course. Worst thing you can do is deal with an unprepared agent.
Just
Trust
winging
me.
it.
Oh, God.
No, that's a good piece of advice, man. So, Geo, since you have been on before, I'm just going to transition into some of these other questions I have for you. If you haven't seen Geo's first episode, I would definitely recommend that you check it out. I think it was like number 12 or something like that.
I think so.
And now we're number 52. So it's been a while.
We've grown.
Look at that. It was a good episode. We talked a lot about staying positive, work-life balance, those sorts of things. And the show has evolved quite a bit here. So since you're back for a second time, Geo, some of these questions are a little bit more about you.
Third time.
Third time?
Yeah. We did two already.
It's been too long, folks.
Yeah. Do not edit that part. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, you're good.
I'm kidding.
But for... what was I going to say? So these questions are more, Geo, about, I guess, you and your career and perceptions and that sort of thing. So this first one that I have here, we often talk about the misperceptions or misconceptions, rather, about the career of real estate. So what's something that you would say people misunderstand about the career in general?
People misunderstand it that a lot of people come into real estate because, they want to make more money, but they want to have the freedom to do more. And sometimes you can make more money, but now sometimes in the beginning, you're going to have time to do less in regards to your normal, regular, because you're trying to get the business off the ground. The other thing is that a lot of agents want to come into the business because they like to see houses, and you see HGTV, you see $1 million listing. I'm like, wow, in 30 minutes, they got an offer. in an hour where this guy's making 100 grand commission on this $1 million homes. And I think even though the shows are entertaining, it has given a bad idea as to what real estate really is.
Yeah.
So real estate is not just showing houses. Really, real estate, the main thing is marketing. You got to put yourself out there. You got to prospect. It's not, like 54 Realty is the brokerage. It's great. I'm the business. People do business with me.
Yeah.
So learn how to communicate, learn how to negotiate, learn how to market yourself. You're in a marketing business.
Yeah.
To be honest, you got to put yourself out there and let people know what you do. I think that's one of the biggest one. And also, people think I'm in the business of selling houses. Well, you're actually really in the people's business.
Yeah.
You got to know people, get to know personalities, find out how people work. There's stuff out there, I think it's called the DISC personality, that you can figure out, like, someone might be a straightforward person. It's not that they don't like you, it's that they just want you to be straight to the point.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may misunderstand that because, well, got my feelings hurt because I like to talk and this person just wants to be straight to the point. It's not that they're mean, it's you got to know the personality. But again, the misconception is that you're here just to sell houses. And if you're just here to sell houses, then, it's going to be a long road for you. That's why a lot of agents don't make it in the first
like 6
year or
months to
two,
a
something
year,
like that. And so, again, you are in marketing more than anything, and you are in the people's business. Houses is just the product that you sell. And your brokerage is just, is where you hang your license and where you're supposed to get your support. At the end of the day, again, you are the business. You're the one that's going to decide how you're going to turn this whole thing around. And another thing is that, and I see it a lot on Facebook, and I've done it. I think we've all done it. Hey, I got a closing. Congrats to it's great. But what a lot of agents see that, I'm going to get my license.
Yeah.
You don't see that from the beginning. The middle part is the part that a lot of agents don't talk about. That's the hard part. And that's the part that you need to be prepared for. The only way you're going to be prepared is by really, getting out there. There's no training. There's no YouTube that's going to help you prepare for that. But you need to get out of your head that I'm just here to, talk to people and sell houses. It has to go beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super interesting that you said it's like a marketing business combined with a people business, because I've often heard on this show specifically people say, yeah, it's a people business. It's all about your people skills and your interpersonal skills, yada, yada, which I totally agree with. But I do think people overlook the marketing thing a little bit because you got to market yourself, really. What have you done in the past to kind of say, like, hey, I'm Geo Rodriguez, let me sell your home? Again, another very broad question.
Yeah. Okay, so I've done some social media. I've had one or two people reach out to me because of I got to get better. I'm not going to lie. I got to get a lot more consistent. I have some ideas that I want to implement and just continue to stay consistent with it. But my thing has always been the phone. That's what a lot of agents are scared about, the phone. And I've been able to make calls, connect with people. Some of my listings have come from cold calling, either FISBO or all expired, or what they call circle prospecting, which is like a farming, a neighborhood, just call a neighborhood on a house that may be sold there and just reach out to those neighbors. They may know someone. So do spend a lot of time on the phone, but you got to find out try everything and find out what you're good at. You got to do something. You know what I mean? It's good when you get, you receive leads and all that. But at the same time, you have to figure out a way how to create your own business.
Yeah.
So as far as, just getting out there, I need to start shooting more videos, more educational more than anything, to let people know, hey, this situation came up or that situation came up. And I think a lot of more people might relate to that than what someone can relate, like, hey, I sold a house. Like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But a video that could be educational to someone could be like a light bulb for them, like, oh, that's what I'm looking for. And they might reach out to you and say, hey, I saw your video, whatever may be the case. And you got to take advantage of opportunities as well.
Yeah.
The other day, my wife sent me a text. It's like, hey, somebody in the community posted that they're moving to Georgia. So I reach out to them. I say, hey, I heard you're moving to Georgia. Let me know. If you need an agent in
I'm your
Georgia.
guy.
No, I didn't go that
Oh,
route.
referral, I see.
I'm 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 with the thought like I'm gonna help you in a different way. A lot of agents would have been like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm your guy to do this." Say, "Hey, let me know if you need a good agent in Georgia. I have a good connection. I can definitely connect you if you have any questions." And if unless you already have someone, and if for some reason I live here in the community, if you have any questions or you need to sell your house, or any questions, just reach out to me. Let me know. I'll be more than glad to answer any questions you have. But the main thing was if you need help getting to the other side, I know someone in that state that can really help you out. Maybe like 5 minutes later, I get the text like, hey, I appreciate it. My wife and I are going to get in contact with you this week. Let's talk.
Nice.
You know, so if you're in the business of helping people and servicing people, yeah, you want to get obviously a listen. You want to grow your business. But if he's not ready or he already has someone, he might refer you to somebody else.
Exactly.
But you're in the business also of helping people and be there for them. You never know what that relationship is going to
Yeah.
turn out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those things that keeps coming up on here a lot more recently is like, and I keep quoting this piece of advice I got, which is you never know when you're going to run into somebody again. So just be kind to everyone, be helpful to everyone. I think that's a great strategy. Like even if you're not immediately going to get a deal out of that interaction with your neighbor, it's good to get your name out there. They might refer you to somebody else, you know?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I'm telling you that they might refer you to someone at some point. They might need you. Just that's what then the marketing part comes into play.
Yes.
How do I stay in contact with you without being that person that, hey, you ready to
Spamming.
sell?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you keep putting out good content and good info and being educational, I think people will kind of see that
Yeah, definitely.
a lot more. So, but yeah, that's at the end of the day, you never know.
That's right. You brought up something else, Gio, that I actually talked about on here on a solo episode. It was an article that I read from floridarealtors.org. Shout out to floridarealtors.org. And it was talking about like secret lead sources for real estate agents. And one of them on there was cold calling for sell by owners. And you mentioned something else, but I forget what it
All
was.
expireds or
Yes.
expireds or
How effective has that been for you? Is that a strategy that you would recommend for others?
I recommend it if you're one that likes it. Even if you don't like it, try it.
Yeah.
Give it. I had an advice. Somebody tell me like, listen, make one call, and then hang up. If nobody shot you, you're
all
good.
right.
Go make another one.
You're alive.
Yeah, but it's not. Do I recommend it? Yeah, because if you like door knocking, go door knock. As long as you're doing some kind of activity consistently.
Yeah.
So if you go door knocking, and let's say you took an hour and a half, and you door knocked 20 doors, and maybe 3 people were there, great. At least that's people that you met. But if I'm on the phone in an hour and a half, I made 100 calls, and I talked to 15 people, then my numbers are better than yours.
Yeah.
At that point, I reach out, and some people, they're gonna hang up. It's gonna happen. It's a numbers game, right? All I need is 1 or 2 good people to really build a good communication with. Do I recommend it? Yes. Call Fistbowl, old expires. All expires are the ones that already been past 30, 60, 90 days, 120 days. Nobody's really calling them. Fistbowl, you can look them up for free through Zillow a lot of times. Circle prospecting, again, you have Remind on your MLS. You can pull like absentee owners, people don't live in their homes, and it gives you their contact number.
Yeah.
Just give them a quick call and find out. And again, try everything, but then be good at 1 or 2 things that you feel comfortable with. Even if it's social media, if that's what you're really good at, and that's how you are getting, your lead, continue to do that. Don't stop, but maybe add something else on the side. But you're never going to know unless you really give it a shot. It's not for everyone. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people tell me I don't like being on the phone. I'm not going to be on the phones, and it's okay. But I know people that have made a killing because they've been on the phone consistently for a certain amount of time, and now just business keeps coming to them. But it takes time. It's not that you want to be on the phone forever, the rest of your career, but give it a consistency for. I know this sounds scary for some people. 2, 3, 4 years. And even if it were door knocking or mailers or whatever you're good at, do that consistently. people are always going to remember you.
Find your niche, basically. Yep. I like that, man. That's good advice. Geo, so obviously in this game, you have a lot of influences. By game, I mean real estate. That was kind of a silly way to put it, but you know.
I got you, player.
I'm sure you've had a lot of influences, Geo, throughout your career, whether it be professionally or personally. I'm interested to hear from you. Who are like some of the most influential people specifically on your career? And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone you know personally. It could be motivational speaker or something like that.
I really like, on the real estate side, I never met this guy, but I do look at a lot of his YouTube videos. I don't have a ton of them because when you have too many people talking, it's going to confuse you.
Absolutely.
So you got to pick what's similar to you and where you want to be at, and you have to pick what kind of fits who you are and mold it into. You know, if somebody's doing way better than me, I want to know how.
Yeah.
Especially if I can identify myself with them. There's this gentleman. His name is Brandon Mulrennan in YouTube. Amazing, and he does a lot of cold callings, but he also talks about mindset strategies and objections and things to that effect. That kind of helps me. So that's definitely one guy that I really love listening to. On life, I really like a lot Ed Milet. He's awesome. If you don't know who he is, check him out. His name is Ed Milet. He does a lot of interviews with a lot of people, but his story is actually pretty cool. A lot of stuff you may not identify with, but some other stuff also is stuff that, man, I can really relate to that a lot. And I like to see stories of people that, you know, were at some point in life and how they made it, how they got out of it. I always love to hear about the foundation, where they were and how they grew to where they at now. Another gentleman that I'm friends with, he lives in Port St. Lucie, and his buddy, his name is Joe Rosen. He's with another brokerage up there, but we never met in person. We always communicated online, but it's one of those people that you can always reach out.
Yeah.
He has an answer for you. Or he got me into a training that he and his buddy, actually Joe knows him, his name is Alex Hay. So he does a training Wednesdays and Thursdays for anyone outside of their brokerage. And it's a lot of role playing and a lot of real life situations. Yeah. So those are really my main circle. And those are the people that I really learn because I seen them grow from where they were at to where they're at now. And you try to model yourself after them. You know, it's cool to model yourself after someone, but still keep your identity.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
And so learn from others, but, you know, be you at the end of the day and be realistic with yourself. Like, you know what? I suck at this. I need help. Like, I need to get over this hump. I've said it to myself. There's times that I've said, I want to wave the white flag, man. I'm like, I don't think this is going to be for me. And something always happens that just
comes back.
Yeah, it just comes back if you stay with it. But those are kind of like the ones that I really listen to and kind of stay consistent with them.
Nice, man. Shout out to Alex, by the way. He was on an early episode of the show too with Joe, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So go check that out. Some valuable insight because he runs his own brokerage as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. He does.
Very, very interesting fellow. Some good words of advice
really good
on
guy.
That episode. Yeah, absolutely. So Geo, I'm wondering, because you have a lot of great advice here, and I appreciate that from you. What is a lesson in your career that you've learned that you'd like to share with other people? Something that maybe you didn't expect going into real estate that now you're like, I can't believe I didn't know this before.
The one thing that I've learned the hard way is if you're taking it back to the quote unquote prospecting and marketing, right? If you're in a position where you're receiving leads, right? It's great.
Indeed.
Cool. The problem becomes when you just concentrate on that and now you forgot about the other stuff.
Yeah.
And when those leads, let's say they slow down or they're not coming or they're not what you were expecting them to be, now you completely lost momentum on what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And I did that at one point. I was so into the leads that I kind of said, well, I'll go back to
the people I've been working
with. To the people, to the calling and all that kind of stuff. And when you close, the best thing that can happen to anyone is to have a closing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The worst thing that can happen to anyone is to have a closing with nothing else lined up. You know what I
That's
mean?
so true. Yeah, yeah.
Because now, crap, I got to now go back and restart what I should have been continue to do.
Yeah.
What should I have continued to be doing? And now to get that momentum back again, it takes a minute.
You got to start from scratch almost.
So now you're working out of a place of stress, and now you're desperate. And then now you may start looking at other options. Should I look at another job in the meantime? So that's one thing that I learned the hard way, that I said, you know what, that's not a good formula.
Yeah.
So that in coming into this business, just, it could be kind of scary creating your own. It could be the best thing, but also, if you got to realize that you are in this industry, not just because you want freedom and you want all that, you want the good money, but in the beginning, like I said, you may have to kiss some of that freedom a little bit goodbye for a while. If you're able to sacrifice, again, 1, 2, 3 years, and really it's going to put you so much further away in the game later on. Yeah. Like I said, where you don't have to be making 100 calls a day, whatever. At some point now, that business just turning, you know. So yeah, that would be my biggest thing. Again, is taking your foot off the pedal, because you now got entertained by something else that is good, but now you lost momentum to what you had going on. And now, like I said, it's great you have a closing, but it's bad when you have a closing and nothing else coming.
What's next? Yeah.
Because now how am I going to spread this?
This paycheck.
Yeah.
I get it, man. I've unfortunately seen that a lot. So to touch on that, it's important to think long term. Start building your business instead of just like turning and burning. I've heard it referred as.
You know what it is? Is that we forget we don't have what they call delayed gratification.
Right.
Sometimes you take the good and you give up the great, because it's what I need.
It's right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times we're in a society that this sucks. It's not what I expected. I was expecting for this to already happen, and you're only been a week or month into it. Is that delayed gratification. And the people that I know that I've heard that have been the most successful, their beginning was horrible.
Slow, yeah.
Yeah, and if they went through, if you can find a way to shorten that out, great.
Right.
But it's all part of the process. You cannot be afraid of the process. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good, man. No, to your point about people who started slow and then kind of it paid off for them in the long run. Alexis Machine is a perfect example of that. I remember when she started, and this is not something that she doesn't talk about. She talked about it on here. It was like kind of slow at the beginning, and then she went through a period where she was like, do I still want to do this? Do I still want to do this? And eventually her funnel kind of paid off for her. Like all the hard work that she had been doing when she first started eventually came around, and now she's sitting like towards the top of the brokerage rankings. So that's just a success story of playing the long game, if you will, right?
Yeah, but staying with it and not giving up. The thoughts are going to come. The temptation is going to come to just quit and just call it a day.
Yeah.
Right. But that's when you really have to dig in, and it just sucks, because it's happened to me that just when it was about to go and get it done, like something was good was going to happen, I had given up on something.
Right.
And it's like, man, now it's not that nothing else good will come out of it, but now you just delay the whole process,
Yeah. So. I think that's great advice too, especially for very new agents, because I just do remember seeing all the time, like, it's like, man, I forget who it was, but somebody on here called it shiny object syndrome, where you're getting all these leads and you get super excited and you just take way more than you can handle. And so like things fizzle out because you can't give everybody your undivided attention, kind of like you were saying. So a word of caution to the newer agents out there, take it slow. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Geo, so this is a fun question because sometimes I stump people with this. I know it's hard to make predictions about real estate because it's constantly changing, especially with technology, and the pandemic was a great example of that as well. If you could make a prediction, what do you think the world of real estate will look like 5 years from now?
People will still be selling and buying.
That's true. The fundamentals will be there.
It's hard to really predict. I think it's still, everything it goes in a cycle, right? Everything, it's always somewhere that's going to be a shift. So where it's going to be in 5 years, I think we should still be in a good. I think we should be more normal,
Balanced.
more balanced than we were last year or even now. But it's still going to be the same.
Yeah.
People, in the sense that people are still going to be selling, people are still going to be buying. This every single day there's going to be a closing.
Yeah.
The question is 5 years from now, are you going to be a part of that? Of the closing and the selling and the buying. And so it's really hard to predict what the market is going to be in 5 years.
Absolutely.
But again, it's going to be there. It's going to be available, and that's why you work at it now. So 5 years from now, you predict what the market is going to be for you.
Yeah,
at the time. Either you shift with the market, or you're going to shift to something else.
You're going to get rolled over. Yeah. That brings up a good point that I wanted to ask you about. You always hear about like the old school real estate agents who, they still want to fax everything, pen and paper, everything, right? Perhaps a little bit cautious of technology, or wary of technology. I know that works for some people. There are some people who are still old school like that and they can succeed. But how important do you think it is to be willing to adapt to the trends in real estate?
You have to adapt. I mean, if it's something you've always done and it's work, I mean, you can. I don't know who's faxing anymore, right. but yeah, you definitely need to adapt with technology and everything that you have now. It makes things a lot easier than it was back then. Instead of looking at it, well, I'm old school, this is how we did things. Like, man, this new stuff is going to help me speed up everything else that it was taking me a while to get done. So you definitely got to adapt. Like I'm saying that, and I need to adapt. I'm not the most techie person sometimes. So, but again, find what's out there that works for you and make it a system. But always be open-minded, always be looking to else what is out there that's going to make your business better. What happened to with technology is that, quote unquote, people adapt, but then also people depend too much on certain things. You know what I mean? And then technology is good, but when there's too much of it, now it kind of freezes you because now you want to try everything.
Yeah, you rely on the system.
You rely, And if it's not for you, then it's not that it's bad, but, look at something else that you can use. Technology is always going to be changing. So, adapt, but also don't get so involved in so much that now you have to analyze everything and figure it out. Again, find out what works for you and create your own system and go with it.
Yeah, a healthy balance between the old school and the new school.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Old school still picking up the phone.
It still works sometimes,
it works. So
absolutely, man. This is another fun one, Geo. Actually, we burned through the questions here, man. I didn't even realize. Always have fun with you, Geo.
Look at this.
This is a fun one too because for some reason this just stumps people. You already touched on some of the influential real estate leaders that you kind of look up to and follow. Alternatively, if you could recommend, and there's a couple different options here, a book or a movie or a podcast or a TV show that has influenced you in some way, or you could do a couple of those if you want and recommend it to the audience. What would that be?
A book. I'm a big fan of Ryan Serhant. I like his book. Yeah, he was real estate agent for $1 million in New York, but he has his own brokerage. He went on his own. But his book has a great story about how he started, how horrible it was. Again, going back to how bad it was and how he finally broke away from that, how he started making it. He has another book. That one's called Sell It Like Serhant, and another one's called Big Money Energy. Those are really two good ones. If you're into prospecting, fanatical prospecting, and the compound effect, I like a lot. It's really there's a lot of really good ones out there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So as far as podcasts, again, I like At My Lead, and that's for real estate podcast. There's Real Estate Rock Stars. It's pretty good. Tom Ferry. It's pretty good.
Tom Ferry.
Yep, he's great. And as far as movie, if my wife sees it, she's going to be, oh God, here we go. But In the Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, that's a good one, man. It's a great one.
Because I can relate to a lot of stuff that he went through. And then the fact that, again, he went back, did whatever he had to do.
Mm-hmm.
The situation it sucked. But he even working for free, I think it was for like 6 months.
Right.
But his strategy, his mindset, it was like, I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm not drinking water. I'm going to stay on this phone. And I'm not even hanging up the phone. I'm just going to I need to make as many calls to try to get an appointment because his time was very limited. But how he succeeded and what he overcame, I think for me, movie-wise, and I'm not much of a movie person, but that to me still is one of the best ones.
That's a great example, man. I never even thought about how that kind of translated to this career, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Shout out to Will Smith.
Yeah.
He's on the show next week, actually.
Is he?
So, yeah.
Oh, man. Careful.
Yeah, he's really plummeting his career.
Yeah, no, that's cool. He's done some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. Have you ever listened to the Bigger Pockets podcast before?
Yeah.
I haven't, but people are always recommending it. Is that mainly about investing? Because I know that's kind of their forte.
It's mainly a lot about investing. There's a lot of real estate stuff that you can learn from, but a lot of it has to do with investing. I think if you're an agent, you should look into, investing and not just buying, selling, like, create something for yourself.
Diversify.
As well. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one as well. But yeah, it's a lot more about the investing side.
Gotcha.
It's just sometimes if you don't know the lingo, it just gets so deep. They just get lost. You're like, forget it.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Well, that's my whole thing, man.
Yeah.
That's me. That's, for people that don't know this, that's kind of why I'm the host of this show. When Joe and I started it, it was like, well, you're going to be having all these people that know the real estate game and the lingo and everything like that. We need like an outside perspective to be like, wait a second, what exactly are you talking about?
Well, it's just like marketing. If I look anything up and they start talking about Facebook ads and Google ads and da-da-da, and this is how you do it and ranking, I'm like, look, man,
I don't know.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. And then you were talking about a bunch of different books, and I just wanted to point out something new here at the office. Actually, is we've got a little library going on now. Actually,
I saw that.
It's quite a number of books on there.
There's some good books there.
Yeah, so if you work here, or even if you don't, maybe come check that out. There's a lot of good stuff on there. I think I've read, I forget what it's called, but something Digital President, which I think is in here too. Somewhere. Anyway, there's a lot of good stuff. So if you're looking for some inspiration, I'm sure there's something good on the shelf.
Yeah, they have some good stuff. I think they have that book that I told you on fanatical prospecting.
Yeah.
They have it there, the E-Myth. I heard it was really good. I think it's there as well. And so, yeah, check it out.
Get your reading done, folks.
Yeah.
Learn you something.
Grow up.
Yeah, grow up. No,
just kidding.
Geo, man. Like I said, we burned through those, dude, but I appreciate you coming back on.
Of course. Anytime, man.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Do you want to promote anything like social media or anything like that?
Social media, Instagram is Geo Rodriguez 1. So on Instagram. And Facebook is just my whole middle name, Giovanni Rodriguez.
That's right.
That's where I'm at. And yeah, I would love to, even new agents that I haven't met or people that we don't follow each other, I would love to follow follow you and see what you're doing. I learn always from someone. That's pretty cool. Like, I should do that. You heard, I should, but I just gotta, I have like this love-hate relationship with social media.
Yeah, same.
And so I'm going to get there really soon. I need to. I have to. I don't have a choice.
Well, I think you do a good job, man. Give yourself some credit.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook. This is 52, I believe. We're coming up on 54. That'll be a fun one, eh?
Nice.
I think that's it for me, guys. As always, at the Real Estate Playbook on social media. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you can see our faces every week. If you're listening on audio, you're not going to see how many fingers I'm holding up right now. But go ahead. Well, thanks, Gio.
You're welcome.
Go ahead and drop a like or subscribe depending on where you are listening. I don't have anything else for you this week, guys. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your rainy day if you're in Florida. We love you. Take care.
Bye.